This is the Conscious Hour, and this is a great show. It's Nima, and this is Colonel Larry Wilkerson on the right hand side, and Larry Johnson, who's a CIA analyst, on the left, and Nirma is on top. This is a discussion about who are the Jews. And I remember a comment one time, it must have been junior high school. My dad says, "Oh, those damn Jews." And I looked at Dad and I said, "Dad, that's disrespectful. Why are you saying that?" He says, "They're always getting us into wars." And I never, I didn't understand it. I was a young kid. And now all of a sudden, here we are today, and we're witnessing what's going on in the world. And so let's take a dive on this one here. It's actually quite alarming. For some folks, it will be. For me, it just filled in one of the missing pieces of the puzzle. When I was a little kid, I wanted to figure out why the world was so fucked up. And well, we're we're looking at it right now, folks. The worst we've ever been on the potential of World War III. Here we go.
To incorporate them because they had money, they had influence, and they were good fighters. That kind of started, I think, in history, this idea of resurrecting the Jews of old for allies in key areas. And it got picked up by the British in a big way when they realized what was happening to their empire, particularly World War One and then World War Two pretty much put the finishing touches on it. And that became a sort of a policy that people actually tried to put together, that you would use the money and the fighting power of Jews in that region to help you in keeping your empire intact. And it just got passed on to us. And it cost the British dearly, of course. What was the King David Hotel, where they lost a lot of their people because of the terrorists, the Jewish terrorists. Jews have always been the best terrorists in the world. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying Israelis, I'm saying Jews have been the best terrorists in the world.
Larry, the other sensitive point that Jeffrey Sachs and Dr. Thompson talked about yesterday was the case of Al-Aqsa Mosque. Mm-hmm. And here is what they talk about.
Of rebuilding the temple is almost never discussed publicly in the United States, but there is a huge effort, by the way, bankrolled by a lot of Christians, just to be completely clear. In the state of Texas, for example, there's a whole foundation, a number of foundations designed to abet this. But there is this kind of behind the scenes push to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, which would require destroying the third holiest place in Islam, the mosque, the Al-Aqsa Mosque. I've talked to a bunch of people about this who think that it's imminent, that it's not crazy to think that that mosque would be blown up in order to make way for the third temple. Do you fear that? If that happens, what happens next?
Well, the extremism on display in Israel is, as I said, the most lawless in the world today. Israel is the rogue state of the whole world. Israel flagrantly violates every limit. Israel goes to war where it wants to. It murders foreign leaders where and when it wants to. It acts with complete impunity and disdain. And Netanyahu thinks that he controls, and maybe he does, the U.S. government, so that whatever he does, he thinks he can get away with. So there's no doubt that there is a third temple movement that is part of this coalition. No doubt that there are people in this government who have absolutely no limit, who talk openly about, well, they've already said, to make Gaza completely uninhabitable and unlivable. That is ethnic cleansing or genocide or a combination of the two.
Yeah. And he didn't mention the fact that Ben-Gvir has actually gone to the Temple Mount and said he was going to do just what Jeffrey intimated.
Yeah, I think most.
So wrap your head around that one, folks. We're going to war because 98% of Congress have been paid off by AIPAC. Used to be 93%. Now it's 98%. Imagine that. A foreign country paying off your politicians so this foreign country can get its agenda completed, which means El Asque Mosque has to be destroyed and the new temple is going to be built. And there was that thing called Armageddon. We're in critical times, folks. And the only way we're getting out of it is by all of us standing together. And thank goodness that the military, the higher commands in the military, are assessing this damage that Trump is causing. And as two very high ranking government military officials said, we took an oath to uphold the Constitution. So we haven't acted yet. A lot more coming, folks.
Of the people that watching us now or listening are not people that have been raised or grown up in a culture, this what I call the eschatological culture. Eschatology is the doctrine of last things. It's this concept that you in the books that you accept as holy scripture, whether we're talking Old Testament, New Testament, or the Quran, that within that there are passages that talk about events in the future or what bring the end of times and judgment. And people who've not been raised around that don't understand how deep that is within these people who believe that. And accordingly, they will they'll even try to take action to make those things come to pass. There's a large within the Zionist crowd. It's not just Jewish; it's Christian. In these ultra Zionist crowd, they really believe that we've got to have the Battle of Armageddon, because this is all now from the Christian perspective. This is the preparation for the return of Jesus. From the conservative Jewish position, that's not the return of Jesus, it's the coming of the Messiah. They do not accept Jesus as the Messiah. And I'm not really in depth with the Muslim outlook, but they have a coming of a return of a prophet.
But Larry, they say the guy they call it Mahdi, one of the sons of the Prophet Muhammad, he's going to come back with Jesus.
With Jesus, exactly. I was just getting ready to say that. So, this religious it's involved with with the Muslims, with the Christians, with the Jews, and yet a lot of these secular leaders, like Donald Trump, he doesn't understand that at all. He's not motivated. He doesn't even understand the motivations. Neither does Bibi Netanyahu. He's not driven by that. Now, as Colonel Wilkerson noted, Smotrich, Ben Gvir, absolutely. I mean, they believe it, and they've reportedly got their hands on a red heifer because they're going to sacrifice this animal that will killing this animal that's completely pure, not a black hair, not a white hair on it. It's completely red, and when they kill it, apparently this is going to usher in the return of the Messiah. So these people are they're of the same mentality as Jim Jones. Remember the crazed religious guy who went to South America and had all of his followers commit suicide? That's the mentality we're talking about here. And people may think, "Oh, Johnson, you're way out of touch." No, these people really believe that, and they're moving in the midst where I argue the majority of people are not imbued with that religious perspective or understanding, so they really don't understand what's going on before their eyes.
And if you want to see that really exemplified, go to Pastor John Hagee's Christians United for Israel conferences. You just won't believe this. I mean, that they are locked together, knowing, even if they've read Hagee's books, that this person on my right with whom I'm locked arms here is going to die because Jesus is going to kill them. They're unbelievers, but they're together. They're together, and they're together for the end times, each having a different appreciation of the end times they are envisioning that is antithetical to the survival on the other side, and yet they're allied. Hagee sent $300 million to West Bank settlements.
Yeah. Come,
So that's where we are, folks. And the only way we're going to stop this train wreck is by more protests, more speaking out, and then the military commanders in the United States need to do one thing: uphold the Constitution of the United States. It's real simple. Then we can have a reset. But right now, the reset that's coming, World War III and Armageddon, I don't like that scenario. I think the other scenario is better. Just clean out all the red heifer folks, put them on an island someplace so they can go fight amongst themselves and blow each other up. It's the Conscious Hour, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Please share this, hit like, and it's a 501c3, so please make donations. I've never received any money from anybody ever, but I have a 501c3, and now it's time to donate. Thank you so much for tuning in, and spread the word and keep speaking out, because I want heaven on earth. How about you?